Good morning. Welcome to Faith in the Morning. Something good is going to happen to you today, so expect miracles. Thank you for joining me today. Faith in the Morning exists to help you start your day with faith and encouragement, and that's exactly what's going to happen today. Before we get started, let's start with our 2023 Faith Family Confession. Say it with me. Say, I'm the salt of the earth. I'm the light of this world. Jesus said it, so I believe it. I'm a carrier of the glory of God. Today, I will experience the extreme goodness of God. Today, I make myself available for God to show his goodness to others through me. Today, I'm increasing in influence. Today, I will see the goodness of God in my life. Today, something good is going to happen to me, so I expect miracles. Go with me to Romans chapter 4. Just give you more encouragement and insight and faith so that you can fulfill the goals that you've been working so hard towards this year. As we keep encouraging you, don't give up on your goals just because it's October. You can still knock them out. You don't have to wait to January to be inspired again. You can still knock out those goals. And one of the reasons why you listen to Faith in the Morning is to help you start your day with faith and encouragement. As we go over these scriptures, guess what? Faith is coming to your heart so that you can do these things and do these things God has called you to do. And so yesterday we began to share about personalizing the promise. And we go forward in that line of thinking. Romans chapter 4, verse 16 says, therefore it is of faith that it might be according to grace, so that the promise might be sure to all the seed, not only to those who are of the law, but also to those who are of the faith of Abraham, who is the father of us all. As it is written, I have made you a father of many nations, in the presence of him whom we believe, God, who gives life to the dead, and calls those things which do not exist as though they did, who contrary to hope, in hope believed, so that he became the father of many nations, according to what was spoken, so shall your descendants be. And not being weak in faith, he did not consider his own body already dead, since he was about 100 years old, and in the deadness of Sarah's womb. He did not waver at the promise of God through unbelief, but was strengthened in faith, or strong in faith, giving glory to God, and being fully convinced that what he had promised, he was also able to perform. We know that Abraham was fully convinced that God was going to do exactly what he said, that he was going to perform his promise. He was believing for the performance of the Lord. He really believed that God was going to perform his promise. But you know another way that Abraham showed his faith? God changed his name from Abram to Abraham. So every time that Abraham said, I am Abraham, he's saying, I am the father of many nations. God promised to make him the father of many nations. And at that point, it didn't look like it was going to happen. So what did God do? He changed the way he talked. And what did he do? So now every time Abraham identifies himself, introduces himself, he is identifying with the promise of God. Anytime Sarah called for him, he was hearing father of many nations. God changed the way he talked, and he changed what he heard. And that's very important if you want to knock out these goals that are on your list and not be discouraged. As I shared yesterday, say today, you have to change the way you talk about these goals. And so identify with the promise, personalize with the promise. So as we said yesterday, you say, I'm a person of self-control. Or you might say, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. What are you doing? You're personalizing the promise. And as you say these things, you're renewing your mind and you're releasing your faith. Now, there are different things that are on your list. Some things that seem impossible without the help of God. So do you know what you say? Those things that are impossible are possible, for with God, all things are possible. If God has called you to do these things, if these things he's led you to do, that's why you're setting these goals. You have to know that these things are possible. So stop saying it's impossible. Stop saying, I don't know what's going to happen. Stop saying, I don't know how I'm going to do this. You know how you're going to do this, by the power of God, by the ability of God. Like it says in the Psalms, that by God, I can run through a troop. I can leap over a wall. By God, you can get these things done. By the Spirit of God, you can knock out these goals. Stop saying you can't. Stop saying it's hard. Stop saying it's impossible. Why? You're anointed. You are graced by God. The greater one lives on the inside of you. You can do it because you are anointed. If God has called you to it, he has anointed you to do it. So you need to talk like you're anointed. So when you look at these goals that seem impossible, but you know it's what God has called you to do, you say, I'm anointed to do this. And these goals are coming to pass. What God promised me is coming to pass. I believe I will see the performance of the Lord. Just like Abraham believed, you have to believe that you'll see the performance of the Lord in your life. So keep knocking out those goals. Don't give up. God has more for you. And one of the things, after you knock out these goals, I'm getting way ahead of myself, or maybe circle back to this at a later date. Once you knock out these goals, you'll realize God has more, and it'll be time to dream again. So don't give up now. Your best is yet to come. I'm out of time. Have a great day. Know that something good is going to happen to you today, so expect miracles. God bless.